Without further ado, I am going to introduce Jason. Now, in the past, for anyone who joined us for Stacey Havener's storytelling last week, she gave me a big no-no. I used to just sit and read everyone's bio, and she said, you can't do that, like as a storyteller, we all have our own stories to tell. Please don't read the bio. It's so awkward. The person's standing right there. So I promised her from here on out I wouldn't. But I do want to definitely recognize Jason for some of his amazing accomplishments. He's the founder and the CEO of 3EQ, so I'm really excited for him to share more about that today. He's an award-winning author of Young Leaders 3.0, which I have not read, but I'm very excited. It basically explores the successes and the failures of 23 different Gen Z and millennial leaders and kind of focuses on the strategies that we can use to get ahead. So very excited to read his book. He is really best known for the remarkable work he does preparing next gens and ultra high net worth families for greatness, while additionally kind of helping them with their family legacy, which, when we look at the statistics of family offices that fail, I think it's 25% don't make it past the first generation, 50% don't make it past the second, and 75 don't make it past the third. So this is really important work, especially as the sector is growing at the rate it is. He has over 4 decades worth of experience in education, tech, and finance. And from what I understand, I listened to Adam Smith's audio cast that you recorded last week. Really, really great episode, along with Michelle Bross, who recently formed her family office. But what I understand is you also are building a tech company. So hopefully we'll have time today to hear a little bit more about that. Jason's also the leading member of B20 and G20 official forum. And as I got to meet him last week at Neil Green's Jaboy Elite Leaders Conference, he attends many conferences. He gave a keynote there. He's traveled, to every country. So we are so honored, so excited today to have you, Jason. And I want to give you as much time as I can. So without further ado, I will hand things over to you and maybe ask that you share a little bit more with us about 3EQ, the work that you do, maybe the journey that led you to starting this company.
Wow, Danielle, first of all, it's an honor and pleasure to be here. What an honorable and I'm humbled by your introduction.
Oh,
That's awesome. I'm not the leading member at the B20 in the G20. I'm a member,
a
uh,
member.
but I am a leading member. I'm very grateful as part of my extracurricular activities, if you will, other than my 2 companies, my tech company, my family business, the B20 in the G20. The B20 is, think about it is the sort of like the official global business advisory board to the G20. How's that? To the leaders,
Okay.
right? So we do have a bit of influence helping steer their direction, representing global business, right? So technically, we represent all the companies in this room. It's important because business drives stuff, as you know. To answer your question, 3EQ is one of my 2 companies, is my tiny little family business. And the slogan is very simple. It's preparing next gen leaders for greatness. That's it. Plus, I do a few other things as well. What I mean by that is that, in my previous education company, and I was very fortunate to have brought in a bunch of Stanford professors, a former Stanford provost, a former UC Berkeley professor, some leaders, including Eric Yuan as one of my investors and one of our investors, right? Eric Yuan is the founder and CEO of Zoom. So
Wow.
welcome to using Zoom. Welcome
Yes.
home. I've been doing that for 13 years. And then in that company, I learned it was so much fun. We're so grateful. We literally were guiding over 1,000 on average affluent families, much in
Wow.
Silicon Valley, NorCal, SoCal, and also we built a office in Beijing, China, and these are mostly achievers or high achievers, right? So we help so many kids prepare real well, college planning, application, admissions process to these elite colleges and universities. It's a very complicated, hyper-competitive situation, as you know, right? And even more so today. I'll be very happy to talk about that if you want me to talk about that. And
Absolutely.
And along the way, what's different about me as a co-founder there, and I became one of their superstar, kind of senior counselors, as well as being a co-founder. So it's kind of like both kind of operating, but also building the business.
Yeah.
And um, and in addition to the college process, I was also very big on life coaching, pre-career coaching, and kind of mindset, soft skills, and all that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Certainly, very big on helping kids build their story, just like your guest that you had, right?
Yes.
It's kind of like a movie, Danielle. I'll give you an analogy. This is part of what I do. So, you know, a student, whether it's a high school student or a college student or a millennial who's working in a corporation, entrepreneur, or working for a family business or family office, or a successful or a Gen X a CEO in her 40s and 50s. I mentor all of them, right? And think about their goals. What are their goals? The goals are high school kids. It's about, on average, it's about elite college. It's about college admissions. How's that? Some
Right.
families don't care so much about the brand names, but a lot of wealthy families do care about the brand names of the schools they go to. Okay, let's face it.
Yes.
And
Following in footsteps, I'm sure. Yeah.
I was one of them, right? So my kids are doing quite well, as you can imagine. Very grateful.
Yes, and I did mean to mention that in addition to all your accomplishments, you have
Right.
a beautiful wife and two daughters, what, 23 and 26?
One just turned 27, and
Oh,
so I joke, honey, you're a senior Gen Z, right?
there you go.
The cutoff is about 28, age 28,
Okay.
right there.
Okay. Good to
And
know the definition. I always wondered that. Yeah.
it's just for conversation. You don't want to
Yeah.
label people. Just I joke around all the time. You know me, I'm very playful. And so what I do is to prepare kids real well, and goal achievement, vertical, as well as horizontal honing of the 3EQ and 4S. So one-on-one mentorship coaching. And what I mean by vertical goal achievement is that, to make it simple, speaking in fourth grade language, right? It's important to communicate simply so people understand, right? And it's like high school kids, it's about college admissions. There are a small fraction of kids who prefer to be a Teal Fellow, right? Because I was also a Teal Fellowship mentor before.
Yeah.
Peter will pay you $100,000 and you drop out of Princeton, Stanford, Harvard, Berkeley, whatever, and drop out and build a company, right? We assess you, we give you mentors. I was one of those mentors. And that was
Wow.
so much fun. And I was also doing all sorts of crazy things as well, right? So high school kids about college admissions. College kids, university kids is about career, maybe grad school, maybe no grad school, first
Right.
job,
A lot
internship,
of decisions.
academics, lots of decision making. I tell you, even high school kids, so many families, even though the parents are all successful, mostly successful CEOs, right?
Yeah.
They the families just don't know what they don't know. It's kind of like the parents know that, okay, you are the captain of the industry in your sector, correct? But you know that I'm the captain of my sector, which is chief mentorship, correct? And I'm your trusted third party chief mentor. My job is to maximize and optimize uh,
Hmm.
achievement, because all wealthy families are very achievement oriented.
Oh,
But at the
yeah.
same time, maximize your joy, your connectivity, your family relationships, bonds, and your peace of mind. And that kind of greases the path for succession planning that enhances a family legacy, right? We'll talk more about that.
Yeah.
But wrap your question, college and university students, right? It's about your career, first job, internship, activities, academics. I joke also about boyfriend, girlfriend management,
Oh,
because
yeah. All of
stress,
it.
anxiety, depression management is huge. Think about that.
Oh
Today,
my
we're supposed to be
gosh.
in the safest era in history in terms of, say, deaths per capita, but the mental health issues is super high.
Isn't
What's
that
what's
crazy?
wrong with the
I
picture?
know.
Let's talk about that later. Okay, I'm gonna wrap you.
Absolutely. That's
I'll
something,
dig deep in that why, right? Why? Don't just look at the effect and the symptoms. Look at the causes and fix it. Okay, that
right.
we have to do that, right? Otherwise, the problem will never be fixed. It'll be recurrent.
Yeah.
Now going kind of the older next gens. Okay, now you have the college, university, grad school kids, right?
Yeah.
And then the kids in the 20s and the 30s, working professionals or entrepreneurs at a corporation or their startup or at a family business or at the family office. Then it's about your next level business, career, personal success, isn't it? Same for you and me. Same for you
Yeah.
and me.
Yeah.
Then you rise up the ranks, senior executive, CEO, C-suite leaders, whatever format. Then it's about also your next level business, career, personal, and family success if you decide to have a family, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I go in and help you prepare super well and
Wow.
help optimize what I call 4S and 3EQ, and then maximize your outcomes and your results because we're all tangible, but also intangible. Now, horizontally, I really focus on what I call honing, and some of the audience here heard me speak this before, but I mean it. It's very powerful. And I've been doing that for 25,000 hours, right? In success
Yeah.
coaching, mentoring, applied research, speaking, writing. And one expertise that I have in my repertoire is really pattern recognition. Things that work, patterns that don't work. It's all over the map, like 360 holistic, right? And what I mean by 4S is visionary story. What I mean by story, you mentioned that, is really your
Yeah.
strategic direction, visionary direction. I help
Hmm.
people optimize that direction, and and uh, and then your character. I literally take the time to help hone my students' character, which is sum
Wow.
of all habits and choices. Think about that. Character, my definition, is a sum of all habits and choices. I
Mhm.
take the time to literally condition my students' habits. No one does that. I do that, right? Because if
Wow.
habits don't become better, you're not going to become better. Is
Right.
that and choices, decision making. I'm very big on decision making. On average, each one of my students has to make dozens of big and small decisions every year, some of which they don't know until I tell them that you have to make them. But let's do it in a timely basis, et cetera, et cetera. It's very sometimes it's kind of complicated as well, right? This
Yeah.
is connected to that, that's interconnected to that. You don't even know that. I have to teach you that. Okay, here's how it works. Here's how to build a better relationship. Here's what you need to do. Here's some tactical things here. And I condition them, I make them accountable. A lot of love, coaching, mentoring,
Wow.
guidance, teaching, right? And just lots of love, lots of love.
Oh,
And so 4S. So back to character and then your empowering belief system. Because so many people, everyone's got limiting fixed minds
oh
or
yeah.
some sort of limiting
Deeply
or
rooted.
bad beliefs, right? That hold you back.
Yeah.
And the reason I do that is that your emotions are really a instant manifestation of your beliefs, your thoughts, your self-talk, and your physiology.
Yeah.
Then I literally hone all the three interconnected components so you can become a better human being and leader, et cetera, right? Whether you're a kid or adult, I do that.
Oh,
If you give me a little bit of time, I don't have a lot of time to condition you, then I just go boom, 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 right? But if you give me a lot of time, I have coached students that are like 5 years, and I've coached a student for 1 month, right?
I
And I've
was
coached
curious
CEOs
the
for,
typical
I've coached
duration.
I've coached CEOs for only a couple of hours as well. It's all over the map, but the longer the period, the better.
Yeah.
And then wrapping up 4S and 3EQ, and we could go on to the next question. I think we got limited time. So visionary story, and then your spiritual, emotional, and mental state of mind management. Because
Mhm.
a lot of people are spending more time than they should, subconsciously or consciously, in states that are not high performing, that is not as high joyful. I condition them to spend more and more time in high performing states, right?
Mm.
Emotions, right? It's really spiritual, emotional, mental combined, uh,
So much.
caused by your belief system, by your thoughts, which you cannot control a thought that comes to you right now. Because your thought could be from God, your thought could right now be from the devil, literally speaking. Okay, we cannot control that.
Yeah.
But we could certainly condition
Yeah.
some of our future thought processes. You get my point? And
Yeah.
then physiology, right? So I'm very big on conditioning my students, people's spirit, mindset, soft skills, strategies, diet, fitness, your habits. That's part of what I do.
This is stuff they don't teach in school, and it,
No, I don't. And I got so many kids that go to all the Ivy, Stanford, MIT, Berkeley, all the kids that go to the top universities and colleges, right? Like
yeah.
like Ivy League schools, who are they, right? Harvard, Princeton, Yale, Columbia, Penn, Dartmouth, Brown, Cornell, including Wharton, U Chicago, Northwestern. I got kids, all of them, right? In fact, right now, Michelle Bross, you mentioned, co-guest with Adam Smith last week.
Yeah.
She's one of my private clients,
Amazing.
and I'm
Amazing.
coaching her,
I mean,
her
in her family story and how they've structured their family office, I mean, you're doing great work. It's
I could tell
amazing.
you tons and tons of case study stories, right? So
Yeah.
every family is different. Every kid's
Oh,
different.
yeah.
Her oldest daughter, so lovely, and I've been coaching her for a while, and she's now a college junior. So you can imagine what I'm helping her with, right? It's like you kind of getting into the next stage, but also improving soft skills, communication, confidence, and all that. I do that all the time with my daughters as well, right?
Yeah.
My daughters are pretty much have their very strong engine on their own,
Yes. Well,
but I feel
and
constantly help them.
this brings up a question because
Yeah,
I did think like what a tremendous resource that you are that you said it third party because there's so many dynamics within a family
right,
and if you have these high achieving parents I mean they're coming from a different place today like we said it's a different world there's all sorts of issues that maybe didn't even exist
right.
back then. And so you're
Oh,
able to
absolutely.
come in and I love that you add love to it. It's not just discipline and it's everything.
You,
It's all
you,
encompassing.
you must. Okay, listen, the kids and I'm so seasoned dealing with kids, right? You feel my energy, right? I'm 1,000 years old, but Gen Zs, these high school kids, college kids, these next they love me. It's like Mr. Ma. After the end of our scheduled meeting, it's like let's book our next meeting. They're just
Yes,
right, inspired, because they know that I love them more than they love themselves sometimes, right? It's kind of like being and I compliment and like the parents as well. The parents go thumbs up. I joke with the
yes,
parents and I joke with the kids. It's like, how would you like Mr. Ma to teach you to how to guide you how to attract even better looking husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends that are
right.
kind, right?
I mean,
And
amazing that you can do that.
I
Wow.
actually I actually do that, right? And the parents go, life skill. My kids don't listen to me, right? I don't have your skill. Do
It's
it.
true. It's you need that outside. And it's also it's awareness that you only know what you know. And
Right.
that's kind of a question I have for you. In this fast-paced society, how do you mentor some of these, and I don't want to speak badly, but like it seems like there's a lot of short-sightedness, a lot of like
Oh yeah.
immediate gratification. So how do you get these Gen Z and millennials to think about long-term to, avoid loss of opportunity?
The Gen Z millennials now, because I'm so adept, I guess I'm not shy to say I'm extremely skillful in doing that. Now, all of them, they listen to me
Yeah.
completely, right? They trust me more than they trust their parents
Money in your hands.
siblings and all that, because I come in as literally in love, they're loving a new best friend, right? Because all I do is to care about them,
Yeah.
is to really kind of what's best for you, right? So when I meet a student, whether it's a teenager or 20 something or whatever, and I literally kind of stack on compound interest over what we talked about last time, conditioning and all that. It could be academics, could be activities, could be your other parts of your story building. And I get real tactical with them, very short-term focus in goal achievement, right? Because the best way to succeed is to make constant progress and learn from failures and successes as well and condition them. And I
Wow.
spend time on activities with my students, right? Do's and don'ts and hows and whys and whens and with whom's and all that. Along the way, I condition the 3EQ, the pragmatic, emotional, social, leadership, intelligence. I condition their soft skills, which is part of the 4S. The other
Mhm.
part of 4S is really in a kind of the strategy, soft skills, execution. So it's like visionary story, state, interconnected strategies, soft skills coupled with your hard skills that you learn from your work or your school and your other activities, and your execution ability, the ability to get things done. Okay, very important.
Wow.
Raise all that, right? It's all interconnected. Along the way, always have in mind for the long-term interest for the family, because your parents are wealthy parents,
Right.
and all have that, right? We all care about let's face it, social currency, status, in a good way, and legacy enhancement, right? What's my legacy, right? As a parent, as a
Right.
CEO, and also succession planning. Imagine that if as a matriarch, as a patriarch, I don't have a great relationship with my kids hate me. Why
What's
on
it all worth, right? Yeah.
why would I want to transfer my wealth to my kid? I'm not going to do that, right?
Yeah.
It's human beings are relationship driven, and I
Yeah.
could tell you tons of stories. There's so many miserable, very wealthy people out there. They don't tell you it's face and all that. They shelter it, kind of smile in front of you. But
Right.
I see it from the inside, and I observe as a third party, not my clients, and some of my clients. My clients are doing fine, okay. But of course, every client is not perfect. You know that, right? My
Right.
family, oh, you
And
think it's
every
perfect?
family's
No,
different. Yeah. But these
it's not.
relationships should be your top investment and that's really what you do.
Exactly. Now, going back to your question, it's a very good question. Don't be short-sighted. The risk for being short-sighted, for example, if your kid is a high school kid or high school kids, okay, and you care about college admissions, it's a very common mistake. And I want to repeat this. It's a very common mistake, blunder that parents and some students make is that all they think about is college admissions results, what schools they go to. And their assumption or belief is actually wrong, right? It's like, okay, all right, wow, my kid is going to Wharton. I mean, my younger daughter graduated Wharton summa cum laude. She was also an activity leader. It's like, wow, she's taken care of.
Yeah.
Have you any idea how competitive it is in these schools? Have you any idea what portion of kids are high in anxiety, stressed out, some depressed, a few even worse? Have you any idea?
I mean, I can't even imagine. I haven't gotten there yet, but yeah.
And I'm talking about these highly competitive schools, right? Not to mention not the competitive schools, but all the seduction. I call it being kind of deceived by the devil, right? All the things going on, all the inputs in the minds, right? The education system, K to 12, higher education, the deceptions of social and mass media, and then these negative echo chambers that the kids are aware or not aware or subconsciously not that self-aware on. I have to go in as a trusted third party and help them move and pull them
Like
and maybe
rewiring their
guide them,
brain. Yeah.
rewire the brain and direct them in a better direction. So you can imagine my own kids, and I got a small army out there, right? Some of these kids are
Yeah.
doing amazing things. My former students, they are doing well.
Oh,
They're happier, they're more compassionate, they're making a lot
oh
more
my
money,
gosh.
even versus their driven peers. But one thing I teach is not to compare yourself with other people is one of the devil's tools as well.
The
I guide them.
stealer of all joy. I can't agree more.
Exactly. So that's why the 4S and 3EQ,
Yes.
it is so important. I do that right off the bat, even when you are a young teenager. So you
Yeah.
build a strong foundation. By the time you're in college, you don't have a lot of those issues and you can rise up faster, right? And just a few days ago, one of my students who's a college freshman in Carnegie Mellon, I helped him finalize
Yeah.
his and his LinkedIn because I said, dude, okay, your next step is to beef up your resume. So we went through a number of edits and revisions. Uh,
Yes.
edit, comment, he revised, right?
Yeah.
And I even teach kids on how to augment using Gen AI to augment your work, but it got to be your authentic work.
Oh, wow.
And
I like this.
and then beef up your LinkedIn because even college kids right now, that's a tool you have to do.
Yeah.
And I'm guiding
Yeah.
him to achieve getting the greatest, the best results in internship mixed with applied research this coming
Wow.
summer. Because what employers look for in college is that employable skills. I'm a leading member in a future work employment skills and education task force at the G20's Business Advisory Council, the B20, right? And
Yeah.
I say when I write something, it literally goes into the policy recommendations. And I've learned so much. And I
Wow.
literally was one of the guys that pitched these soft skills, these mindset, and we could talk more about that later. Uh,
Yes.
this is what we want, right? And then indirectly, we're really helping, I guess, billions of the less well-to-dos, not the wealthy families, but
Right.
more billions of people need help
Yes.
and countless businesses, right? So in a way, it feels a bit like philanthropy in some ways.
Yes, I'm sure. Well, and that's, when I learn more about this 4S and 3EQ, I'm like, why is this not a required course for everyone? And, like, interesting short little story. I don't want to take time, but so my husband's an amazing leader. And I
Mm,
think what sets him apart is he's very humble and he has soft skills, but
mm.
no one teaches you that.
Well,
He
yeah,
interestingly grew up in South Africa and his
right,
family would go out and they would watch animals in the safari. So
right.
he knows body language and he can read people and he connects. And those are things like his life experience taught him that, but there's no course. I mean, what you're providing is just so valuable.
Let's go deeper in that. And I
Yeah,
hear kids and parents saying that, oh, hey, my kid's got a mentor, got a coach here. Wonderful. They are subsets of what I do typically, right? Now, they
right.
are, of course, hard skills is them. Go see doctor. That's a specialist. You need to
Yeah,
bring, get hire the best brain surgeon, right? And then, but when it comes to soft skills, I have four cornerstones, and
yeah,
it's a framework of mine. I go so deep and
yeah,
holistic and 60, right? And critical thinking is hyper important. Strategic problem solving, critical thinking.
yeah,
And because a lot of people, Scott, more linear thinking. It's kind of like good people do bad things sometimes, bad people do good things. And
yeah,
then on curiosity, you got to be creative and curiosity. You got to be
yeah,
curious intellectually curious. Jeff Bezos mentioned intellectual curiosity is a greatest skill. Why? You got to be humble and learn and improve all the time. Okay. You talk to Jamie Dimon. I mentioned that in Adam Smith thing last week. Even Jamie Dimon, JP Morgan said, learn and learn, learn and learn. Every interview you watch him, he says that, right? You have to
Yeah.
improve. Especially AI is accelerating in smartness. You don't
Yeah.
want to get left behind, right?
Yes.
And so from organization, family, and individual level, CEO down to the worker, et cetera. And then the other cornerstone is role communication. Big, big, big on that. So you can imagine my kids, a lot of my students, they communicate real well.
Mhm.
When you talk to, for example, my younger daughter, she's only 4'11". She looks like she's still in middle school. I joke around and she hits me, right? She hits,
Yeah.
we joke around all the time. But when you talk to her, it's like, whoa, she's a leader. And she was like the co-president of the Wharton FinTech Club
Oh
at
my
Wharton.
gosh, I love
We
it.
also did a bunch of activities, top activity leader, but also graduate summa cum laude, top 1%. And her communication skills, critical thinking skills is very, very strong. You can imagine. So
Wow.
she listens real well, super empathetic, very compassionate,
Wow.
coming speaking off the charts and writes super well, first person essay writing. I don't have to teach third party expository because you learn that from high school, from college, right? And
Right.
then listening skills, we got 2 ears, one mouth. Listen more, really listen and become a very strong conversationalist. I take the time and guide my kids and hone their conversation skills. One of
Yeah.
my current students has got autism,
Oh
and
wow.
I'm
Yeah.
coaching him for over 2 years so far. When I
Yeah.
started coaching him for the first half a year, very painful for me because he barely speaks. It's
Yeah.
difficult, right? And very challenging. And I didn't know about that until the parents and the kid told me that they have autism. He has autism. I said, no wonder he's so challenging to
Yeah.
coach. But the kid and the parents feel that my love is always there, right? But I stuck with it and kind of like resilience, right?
Yeah.
And then today, when you talk to him, totally different person. Even in
Wow.
high school, at Gunn High School, which is one of the most competitive public high schools in Silicon Valley, there are two public high schools in Palo Alto, right? Kind
Yeah.
of like, and then so Gunn and Poly, I coach kids from the. It's like a couple of I coach kids from all sorts of private schools as well in Silicon Valley, around in many places there. When you talk to him today, he doesn't have. You don't know that he's got autism. He even co-founded arm wrestling club in his high school, and
Oh my
he just
gosh.
co-founded a arm wrestling club in Carnegie Mellon. How cool is that?
How
And
that is remarkable. That is just
e-
so cool to
even
hear.
even brought in teachers and
Yeah.
principals to kind of arm wrestle each other to for stress relief. It's a very
Oh,
competitive
look at
atmosphere.
this.
I
Yeah.
love it. There's a pieces flying all over the place here, and
Wow.
so I kind of guided him through the meticulous competitive college app process, and of course you can imagine I read and edited thousands and thousands of these complicated long short essays and short takes, right? And recommend kind of help them get the best rec letters and build a story, help them
So
decide
valuable.
best curriculum,
Yeah.
help them carve the best activities. It's all authentic to them. Given the belief it's all authentic to them, as well as test prep, SAT, ACT, maximize scores, GRE. If you're a grad student or if you're a college student going to
Yeah.
grad, doing that right now with a college kid. And as well as habits, and I get real tactical. So every time I meet a student, I stack on to the previous meeting report and I kind of update the highlights, right? It's like, because I cannot remember all the details, they cannot as well.
Right.
And it's kind of like a good doctor has got to be super, super strategic, loving, nurturing, skillful, tactical, and detailed, right? So you know all the records and move on. So it's kind of that's why I say 360,
Yeah.
holistic, strategic, and tactical and pragmatic, results oriented and practical. So shall we move on to the next question? You got a bunch of questions for me.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm personally curious, with some of these high achieving families,
Hmm.
sometimes when there's so much wealth, the motivation, the drive cannot, it's like, well, I don't have to work. Do you ever
It,
encounter that, or
it,
are the families that are you
it,
working with?
yes,
Yeah,
yes, all over the map.
yeah,
My criteria, when I take on a new private client families, I'm highly selective. Okay.
yeah,
I'm highly selective because I could take on only handfuls at a time.
right.
And if I detect that the student and or the parent is super arrogant, is
Yes,
totally not coachable,
yeah.
and I guarantee you they're gonna run into some issues they don't predict right now. I don't take them.
I mean, that is the
You,
thing.
you,
You have to be coachable.
you got to
Exactly.
be coachable. You
Yeah,
got to be committed. I mean, listen, I got centimillionaire parents,
Yeah,
uh, and all my clients are ultra net worth, individuals, right? They're
right.
typically CEOs, whether tech company CEOs, public. I got a Fortune 300 tech CEO. I got serial entrepreneur, ultra net worth, tech company CEO, private company.
Yeah,
I a founder of a leading law firm in New York City, in New York. I got a principal of a single family office, all over the map, right? They're all CEOs, right? And what I recognize about the clients that I take is that these parents, despite their their wealth and success, I guess I could say they're humble and wise enough to realize that, okay, listen, I hire CPAs. I hire maybe a multifamily office, maybe a private bank, but
right.
I really need to have I really need to have a trusted third party chief mentor for my kid, and also enlighten us, and to maximize outcomes and to maybe add to our joy, for example, one parent of mine, he's a pretty famous guy in the world actually, because he runs a private tech company that the whole world knows about, right?
Yeah,
And he's even got a grad degree from Stanford University.
yeah,
And I got parents that went to Harvard, went to Stanford, went to Berkeley, went to Penn, and all that. A
right.
lot of them went to top schools, right? But they said, number one, I don't have the skills, okay? And then all the other college consultancies out there, these other firms that I guess are partial competitor to me, is like they just don't have your skills, Jason, because I know everything they know, I know already. These are former college admission deans, assistant deans, and officers. Everything they know, I know already. I wrote a book about it. I wrote a course.
Yeah, yeah, you're
In
like
fact,
two steps
former
ahead.
former assistant director of associate director for Stanford undergrad admissions. He said, "Jason, you're the only one that I refer deals to, because she was after she left Stanford, she did college consulting,
Yeah,
but now she's running another firm focusing
yeah,
on time in
yeah.
philanthropy." She's like, "I looked around, no one's like you. You're the one who I refer deals
No,
to." Right?
it's the whole package. That's the
The whole
thing.
package.
It's a balance, and that's
So,
yeah,
so going back to the private clients, right? They're coachable, committed,
yeah,
resourceful, decisive. They just want the best for the kids, for the family. They are all investment minded.
yeah,
They want to write a check. The check size is not small, right? But they know that the return in investment, tangible and intangible, over the lifetime, it's just
yes,
tremendous. You know that, right?
yes,
Because I'm an investor. Like the investors I bring in for my tech company,
yeah,
they know already that the MOIC, right, the ROI, the multiple over invested capital, is like potential grand slam. In
yeah,
Silicon Valley, if you get a couple of X in return, that's called a base hit. If you get 10X in return, it's called a home run. If you
right,
get dozens of X in return, it's called a grand slam, right?
yes,
Know that they're getting a grand slam plus 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 potentially, right? I
yeah,
never guarantee anything. It's entirely
right.
your decision, but you know who I am. I'm being very transparent, honest with you.
Yeah.
That's who I am, and it all turns out to be pretty
It's
well.
amazing. I
So
mean,
much,
it changes the trajectory, not just for that immediate stage, but
right?
like you
Whole
said, the
trajectory.
whole legacy for the family.
And
So
along the way, and I teach, and I really, and I'm kind of tough on this. I said,
yes,
I'm sure that my private client families and parents and students truly see the forest for the trees.
yes,
Don't see the trees in front of you. That's called short-sightedness.
yes.
Then I guide you literally, of
Mhm.
course, get the best trees and go through into the jungle, navigate the jungle proactively, right?
Wow.
So that is like much easier in the future, much easier. Like one of my kids right now, one of my students,
Yeah.
she doesn't have a good study habit. I teach kids on beefing study habits. Today, she's much better, much more proactive, much less effort, less
Yes.
spent to get better results. Are you
Wow.
kidding? Then you have more time to sleep,
And
more time to play.
you can teach that.
Like
Amazing.
I do that. I do that. I literally do that. That's part of
Wow.
habit. Uh,
Yes.
you know,
Wow. Well, what's really admirable about your work is that you're not just dealing with, a specific age. I mean, you work across the board, even like with CEOs. So you kind of help and understand all these stages. And I heard in
different
your
life stages.
conversation,
Yeah.
exactly, your conversation with Adam, you talk about these vertical life stage goals. Can you
Right.
talk to us a little bit about that?
Yes, I kind of touch on that at first. I'll go deeper. Okay, let's
Yeah.
get into four stages. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, you got the middle school kids. To me, is more like pre-high school. Then
Mhm.
I'm kind of overweighted on high school kids and college kids. Overweighted because one reason is that they're still under the parents' payroll, right? Then the parents
Right.
can write me a check.
Yeah.
So high school kids, very big. And I talked about the vertical goal achievement, typically college admissions, right? Very big on that. It's so complicated, I tell you. And I go super deep. And now part of my methodology, my bespoke mentorship one-on-one methodology is
Mhm.
that I'm always helping them prepare real well, achieve the greatest results, goal-oriented. Along the preparation and helping them to achieve the greatest results and outcomes, I also hone the 4S and 3EQ. Does it make sense to you?
Right.
It's not like just horizontal, but the
Right.
vertical achievement preparation draws my honing the horizontal 4S and 3EQ.
Oh, I
And
love that.
because then I find a reason
Big
to coach you,
picture.
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Like for example, the high school for you, college admissions. Now for the college university kids, grad school kids, right? And I got college kids as well. And one strong advice to parents, you should help me evangelize this, is that okay, high school, college prep, planning, applications, admissions certainly is important. But tell all the parents out there, okay, once your kid's in college, get Jason Ma's help or some other trusted third party top mentor to help you. In
Yeah.
addition to the resources in college, even
Yeah.
though college got career centers, got academic advisors, maybe career advisors, professors. But I tell you, once the kid going to college, it is compared to colleges at large and small,
Mhm.
whether it's top private schools or public schools, they get lost in the shuffle. I tell you, I see it all the time. I
Mhm.
help them become more resourceful in taking advantage of the resources available to them on
Yeah.
campus. And I always ask my students, don't make any decision that you listen to that these other advisors, including your college advisor, career advisor, tell you. Don't listen to don't act yet until it bounces off me.
There you
Here's why
go.
why I do that. I find mistakes in their advices all the time. I'm telling you,
Really?
even private schools, even like, okay, for example, the Atherton is the most expensive zip code in the United States,
Yeah.
except for this Indian thing in Miami now, or the billionaire,
Okay.
right? But Atherton, the median net worth for home is like 8, 9, 10 million, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So of course I coach and mentor part of the Atherton royalty, right?
Yes.
And it's in my backyard. And there are two private high schools. It's called Sacred Heart and also Mental School. Of course, I mentor coach students there over the years, and great schools. But I tell you, I'm just speaking truthfully,
Yeah.
and I find mistakes that these advisors tell the kids, no, don't
Oh,
do that. They're lowballing you. That's not how the system works. And here's the reason why. Okay, these are very nice people, very
yeah.
nice people, middle class people. The joke is that if you make $180,000 in Silicon Valley, welcome to
Right.
middle class,
So
right?
crazy.
It's crazy, right? And they're very nice people. They are skilled up to a certain point. They work for a private school. A private school's got a lot of pride. I see that all the time. I can tell you other stories as well. I roll my head, right? It's like, man,
Wow.
you're not, you're limiting your body, your student body. But it's kind of like I hear it all the time, and I respect them, but then again, I literally help uplift your results, man, in the
Wow.
back as a secret weapon.
Yeah.
So um okay, now let's move on. College and university kids, right?
Yeah.
This life stage. Once again, it's about their future career.
Right.
Grad school, maybe no grad school. Of course, I have mentor students that are pre-med or MBA. Typically, you work a couple of years first before you go for MBA
Yeah.
or MS or even med school, certainly even vet school. I got a student
Yeah.
now gonna go to I'm helping her, guiding her in a planning
Wow.
upcoming application process to be a vet. And I'm guiding her to be not only to become a vet, but become a leading vet and a leader, maybe a business
Wow.
person as well. So you're going to be more impactful. You're going to make a lot more money. You're happier, etc. Right? That's Jason Ma for you. And she's
Yeah.
into the story. It's baked into her visionary stories. That's authentic to them.
Yes.
Everything's got to be 100% authentic. Otherwise, don't do it. That's my advice.
Right. It won't
It's
feel
gotta be
good. Yeah. You'll
got to
get
be you,
friction.
right? It's got to be
Yeah.
you. God wants you to maximize your reaching into your full potential to glorify Him, if you will, right? Kind of,
Wow.
clear.
I do
So,
like the
scholarship.
spiritual component.
Once you're Grad school students is different. Grad schools is already sort of like pre-professional, right? It's a
Right,
that they
right,
do well, then they want to kind of, maximize the success in grad school. It's a similar process, but with nuance difference here.
right.
Once you're working the next stage, in your 20s, in your 30s, you're
Yeah.
kind of upper Gen Z millennial,
Yeah.
then it's your business, career, personal success.
I'm
And I
sure
tell
relationships too. Yeah, all of it.
relationships, right? Next gens, I was in speaking in this thing here. It's kind of like, man, I see a lot of millennials out there. They are just seduced by the devil. Things don't kind of work like that. And I
Yeah.
wish more millennials come to me.
Yeah.
And then the next level is really kind of actually a lot of millennials want my help, except that they don't want to write the check. You see the
Yeah.
difference?
Yeah. Yes, that's where, yeah, I'm sure.
That's the thing, right? They actually want my help. And then, but then you go up to the successful, the CEO, the senior executives, right? The ones who's making big bucks and all that. And I get those clients as well. They come to me. I never go to them. They come to me, right?
Right.
And it's like they know me. For example, one of them, it's a CEO for a single family office who also did summits, right? Single family office summits here. I spoke to her a couple of times. Second time I spoke there, and she goes, suddenly, Jason, here's a check. I'm your student now, right?
Yes.
Of course, when I talk to a female, I'm more polite, right? When I talk to alpha males, I'm a bit, sometimes I could be kind of blunt because that's
Yeah.
how the male
Right.
talks, the mature CEOs. But with a female, and she basically implied to me, Jason, kick my ass, optimize my mindset, improve part of my skill sets, and maximize my results. That's what CEOs want.
Wow.
Why? The CEOs are lonely at the top. Does your partner, your husband tell you everything?
Oh,
Do you tell your husband everything?
yeah. I mean, there's no way we could. Information
Not
overload. Yeah.
information overload. It's also Mother Nature. It's just
Yeah.
Mother Nature.
Yeah.
We're forgiven for that, right?
Right.
And number two, do you think a CEO tells the board every single thing?
Absolutely not.
It doesn't work like that. Do you think the CEO tells the staff and the C-suite
Right.
everything?
No, intentionally. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes the pride, the limiting beliefs, their fear, all the things get in the way, right? So they're lonely at the top.
Right.
And that's why I come in as the trusted third party chief mentor. Man, I tell you, Danielle, part of my joy for doing this is that I know so many secrets about everyone. They tell me
Yes.
all sorts of things I want to know. Sometimes they just feed to me
Like
because
the guru.
I know
Yeah.
that everything's confidential. I would never tell you. It's all
Right.
private, like private banking, right? I would never tell the other people. It's
Yeah.
all private, right? I have to honor that. Otherwise, I lose my reputation.
Right.
And I know that, then I know how to guide them even better, rewire them, drive them in this direction, skill that, boom that, can improve that part of your thing. And
Yeah.
then I look at a lot of documents as well. I help them do a lot of research as well, all sorts of things, right? Improve them so that they could, because if you don't improve this is interconnected to that, that's interconnected to that. If this is weak or not the strong, you're gonna have issues here. It's that critical thinking, you see?
Yes.
And it's not like accountants, we need accountants, we love accountants, but accountants are more linear thinking, don't have a lot of vision. But if you're a business leader, you got to be visionary, critical thinking, strategic problem solving, and also communicate real well with great
Yeah.
holistic people skills and
Yes.
leadership skills. Those are the soft skills that are the most important,
Yes.
That's
And
that's
that
uh
actually,
that's
I
my
mean,
life stages.
and those were, someone dropped there are a few questions, so I will make sure we get to those. But
Right.
someone did, they wanted a reminder of what the four S's were. And I think you just said them.
Sure.
Critical thinking. I'll let you say.
Okay, I'll remind you, and please, guys, go to my website and study. Okay, I encourage all of you because in fact, here's some homework for all of you. How's that? Not
Yes.
homework, but directive. Okay, all right, direction.
I
Okay,
like it.
you are the movie star, guys, audience. You're the movie star. You're making your next movie, and do you want the movie to be a flop, or do you want the movie to be a blockbuster or a great seller? The box office.
Blockbuster. Yeah.
Right. You want a great box office, correct? It's entirely about characters in the movie, story, and production. That's how it works. Okay. It's entirely about your own story and your own characters and your production. Production is kind of like making it happen. Kind of like college admissions, right? The production process is a college application process. Applying for a highly competitive job, right? Like my older daughter, she's a senior software engineer at Google. The hiring
Amazing.
is 0.25%, one out of
Amazing.
right? You want to get into Ivy League school, Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, try 4%, 3%. That's how
Wow.
it works, right? That's how hyper competitive it is. That's a production.
Yeah.
Before that, you have to build your character. You have to build your story. Academic activities, test prep, testing, other things, all sorts of tactical. That's a fit. optimize. I said, drop. I guide people that, you know what? Drop that. Don't do that anymore. Do this instead, right? Here's how you get 1 more hour of sleep. I literally guide people,
Wow.
right? And here's
Yes.
your fitness a little bit here. I guide that meticulous as well as the tangible things. So 4S, visionary story, state, strategies, soft skills coupled with hard skills, execution ability. 3EQ stands for pragmatic, which means results oriented, practical, emotional, social, and leadership intelligence. Notice I don't say just EQ. It's getting so trite. Emotion, instant effect of your beliefs, thoughts, and physiology, right? And I hone people in all these three interconnected components. I use the word social as well because social is compassion, is empathy in action with other people. You got to be a strong compassion leader. For example, my good old friend Eric Yuan, the Zoom founder, CEO, he's an exceptional compassionate leader. That's one reason that despite his thick accent,
Yeah.
people love him because he is so passionate and good with people. Okay. Now, I say leadership intelligence, I know it's grammatically wrong. Who cares, right? I care more about pragmatic than academic correctness. And so leadership intelligence means holistic, more impactful, because when you become a leader and your high school, college, and all that, then you are more impactful, you make more money, and you're
Yeah.
okay. Now, if you don't know how to lead, but you're a leader, then you better get some help. Okay. So that's why emotional social leadership intelligence, and I hone that down to a science, literally speaking. It's kind of I joke with people. All right, if you need to have brain surgery, would you like to hire the best? You got resources, right? You
Right.
you got financial resources. Would you like to get the best chief surgeon to help you?
Right.
Or would you like to hire some other surgeon that may not be optimal in your results, right?
Like
Are
it's
you
a
gonna
choice. These
it's kind of like
resources are available. Yeah.
the chief surgeon is going to fix your problem in 1 hour, boom,
Right.
right? The other guy might take 15 hours to mess up. Are you going to pay them still by the hour?
Right.
Some people think like that. It's pretty
Right.
stupid, isn't it? No, you pay by your anticipated outcomes. That's how you pay. That's investment minded, right?
Yeah.
So the smart CEOs, they get it, right? But the smart investors, they make great decisions, right? Based
Yeah.
on data, also based on intuition and based on
Yeah.
imperfect information here. That's 4S and 3EQ. Go to
Wow.
my website, people, then you learn, okay?
Yes, I'm excited to
Watch my
spend more time.
talks, go to the 3EQ website, then
All
learn
right.
more.
Here we have another one. So this is Abrar. He says, this conversation is so wholesome. As an entrepreneur, I got into entrepreneurship for the love of the hustle, but I had to face situations where my principles and values were challenged.
Right.
You people say we shouldn't care about values when raising a baby, aka the company, while some say I could do it with my values intact. What is your take on it?
A ladder. You have to do it with values and principles. You got to be values, you got to be outcome focused, purpose driven, which includes being values aligned. You got to have to hone yourself to have strong values and principles that people see, feel, demonstrate by examples all the time. Go
Mhm.
to my website and or go to my Forbes column. Read my article, 12 of today's most impressive young entrepreneurs. It's one of the Forbes articles that drew hundreds of thousands of views. That thing went viral
Wow.
with the young tech entrepreneurship community worldwide years ago. That
Oh,
thing
I
went
can't
viral.
wait to read.
And read that. Then the first page you it's very rhythmic as well. Then I talk about the line items or critical success factors, and I joke
Mhm.
with and some people suggested to me because I was a Kairos mentor
Yeah,
back before I became a Teal Fellowship mentor.
yeah.
Was being my mentor of my family business. And I said that, as an entrepreneur, in addition to your thing here, you also be a kind of a kind of a IKEA furniture builder. You got to be a dishwasher. You got to be that. You have to start small. You think big, start small. Okay, got to be values driven. And a lot of young entrepreneurs, one thing that I teach, right, is that make sure if you want to become an entrepreneur in your early 20s, make sure that you do it in a way where you're still employable by other
Mhm.
corporations and not get all cocky and become your resume looks so funny that no one wants to hire you if your startups don't succeed, because most startups actually don't succeed.
Yeah.
So be very cautious as well.
Okay. Really good advice. Wow. Well, I'm going to look over to the chat. Guys, feel free. This is your opportunity. If you have any questions for for Jason. I know I could keep asking you my own personal questions. You definitely have some fans. I see someone just actually finished reading your book. This is so profound, intentional. We can literally see Jason's authenticity shine through. Um, all right. So in terms of questions, I know I've definitely, I've got some. Um, let's see. Okay, so you work with a lot of families, and it's this idea of the legacy. Is there
Mm.
any framework? It was really interesting to listen to that
Yes.
presentation that you did with Michelle, and I know you work with her family. But
Yeah.
that's, given the challenges and seeing that so many families don't make it through the generational wealth transfer,
Right.
how can you help these families? And I guess it's their vision, their values, and you
Right.
work with families on a whole like that.
Right. Great question. Great question. And I'm very big on strengthening, maximizing the glue in a family. How's that? And that is the spirit, the mindset, the soft skills, and evidenced by even greater achievements. Right. What I
Mhm.
mean by that is it's a very complementary thing. Like I get so many multifamily offices, wealth managers, and financial advisors approaching me, right? Want
Yeah.
me to become the client, as you can imagine. And some of them are wise enough to invite me to be their speaker or to be a group coach or whatever, right? In fact, Growco is one of them. And I
Okay.
did
Oh,
a show
cool.
with Alan Olson. He's a pretty big name in Silicon Valley, right? And I just did a show with him, and then I'm going to speak in this live summit. And I said, okay, listen, all right, these external financial advisors, wealth advisors, MFOs, their job is to help you preserve your wealth and help you maybe enhance your tangible wealth.
Hmm.
Uh, Help you save tax, get a discount on this choice yacht or something like that,
Right.
and then do the tangible things that you don't need my help on because those are experts, right? I
Right.
work with them as
Right.
well. Like ones that are wise enough to want to work with me. Don't just sell me things. I hate that, right? I get bombarded by all these pitches all the time. But get me to help you, add some value where I come in. You got CIOs in single family offices. You have maybe a CEO who might be the principal, maybe a third party. For example, my friend Wendy Kraft, it's a new CEO for another family that I just met in New
Yeah.
Greenland, right? And you got all these, you got your other wealth managers out there helping you with these things, or maybe private banks, right?
Right.
Like I began to
These
work with
specialized
private
services.
banks, and but I'm brought in as your trusted third party chief mentor. Okay, what does that mean? It's not like I'm going to mentor everyone. I don't have the right to do that. But maybe for the next gen, occasionally mentor the leading gen, the principal as well, or maybe
Hmm.
the office executives. It's all over the map based on the family. I work
Yeah.
directly with a
Completely
family principal,
custom. Yeah.
decision makers, right?
Yeah.
And even family office executives report to their principals. I work directly with the principals and the next gens, right? That's what I do. And because I directly influence and
Mhm.
uplift everyone, then I kind of that's how that's I kind of lost track on the original question.
No, it was, I mean, you're answering it beautifully. It's like how you help the family with
Yeah,
succession,
yeah.
and you're
And
working with the principal
then
and an
when it
expert.
comes to succession planning and
Yeah.
legacy, say okay, then your mechanics, your processes, do's and don'ts, those guys could help you. Got
Yeah.
it?
Yes.
But in order for you to do that, if your relationships are
Yes.
joyful enough, is not strong enough
Mhm.
between the I got recently I got a set of private client parents coming to me, Jason, guide us to improve our communications with
Yeah.
the kid that you're coaching and mentoring. I like that. And these guys are ultra network CEOs, right? He says an ultra network CEO. I like that. That's humble enough. I said, I like that. It's all private. No one needs to know. I'm not
Yeah.
going to talk about you, etc. And then of course I spend all the time with my students. Then the family relationship, the bonds get stronger and stronger and stronger. You see,
That's amazing.
then the
Like the
propensity
ripple effect.
then the propensity for this $80 trillion of transfer from mostly boomers to the
Yeah.
primarily some Xers, some millennials, and Gen Zs would be
Yeah.
easier. Like
They'll
greasing
be
the
ready for it.
greasing,
There's Communication. Yeah.
And then your kid might want to stick with working for other third-party corporations or their own startup. Some of them might want to work for your family business, maybe your family office. It's all over the map. Some kids want to go out there first and then come back to the family. A small percentage of kids would go straight to the family business, and
Hmm.
some percentage of kids would just stick with a third party. That's fine. Like my own
Right.
kids, they helped me with 3EQ in the
Okay.
past. I'm very grateful for them.
Yeah.
But they're really off to, they're very happy being at Google, at Salesforce, Slack. They just top performers. They're like culture app. People get inspired by them. People love them. They're on their own. But they occasionally still help me here and there. Sometimes I pull my
Yeah.
kids in to help do a session with this particular student of mine just for kids.
Right. Right.
Maybe guide them on CS and AI or whatever. And
Yeah.
then I pull in my senior editor to help with editing some writings and some of that. And so it's like really all over the map, all over the map. But the glue, that spirit, okay, that resilience, adaptability, agility, that tenacity, determination in the right direction, that compassion, those are skills. Those are skills. And just like traveling, I travel over 2 million miles in the past decades. It's a skill.
Amazing.
I'm so
Yeah.
I'm very efficient, quiet, and just boom, boom, boom. Very efficient, right? Minimalist as well. Those are skills. And then you got the force and 3Q on top of that. So it's kind of like concentric circles wrapping around each other. The nuclear is a spirit. You just,
Right.
the family's not there yet, you're gonna have issues, guaranteed.
Yeah.
I see that all
That's
the time.
and I feel like you have to start it early, it's probably very hard to undo.
Earlier the better. Earlier the
Yeah.
better. Never too late. Never too late.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. That's very reassuring. And I think what I love is, you're teaching these next gen to be happy and to reach their full potential. And that may not be a part of the family office, but the most important legacy is the legacy of love. And so teaching that communication and getting the family to work together and lift each other up in whatever their path might be and
Exactly.
helping find that authentic path.
Here's a good kind of a vignette for a weapon for you to use, right? It's like imagine, okay, you are a centimillionaire, right? Those
Right.
are in my client base, right? It's like, okay, you know you're gonna be 6 foot under soon. You got terminal cancer. You're in hospital bed. Do you want the people around you or those that truly love you?
Right.
Do you want relatives that just want your money and that's it?
Right. Right.
Who's gonna sue each other?
Yeah.
The answer is clear.
It's very clear. And that is a great note to end it on, Jason. I cannot believe the way time just kind of flies when you're having fun.
1
And
hour.
hopefully I've
Easy.
been respectful enough to our audience. Anyone who has additional questions, I'm sure Jason would be happy to connect with you to answer questions following this, but I cannot thank you enough. I personally have enjoyed this conversation. I have learned so much. I think what you do is so valuable. So thank you for being here today. And thank you to the attendees. I will definitely choose a winner and I will follow up today via email for our gift suite. And yes.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Likewise. Until next time. All
Okay,
right.
bye.
Take care, everyone.